Hey everybody, I'm David and welcome to OcTalk, the series where we talk about ocarinas and other music stuff. We'll continue with our How to Play Ocarina series next week because today I'd like to cover a topic that's been requested for several years and it's going to take lots of practice, but it's totally worth it. Today we're going to discuss vibrato, which is that special wavy sound you hear whenever I play a long or sustained note. Now, right off the top, I have to say that there is a lot of debate about this topic within the wind instrument community, particularly those who play flute. I do not play classical flute, however, I am a classically trained vocalist. I studied voice with several amazing vocal professors at my university, and the same technique they teach us as singers to use vibrato is the same that some flautists actually do as well, so that's what I'm going to be showing you guys today. But before we get to any of that, let's first discuss what vibrato is not. First off, vibrato is not produced with the instrument, or in our case, the ocarina. It has nothing to do with the ocarina at all, so I'm not even going to be using it for this lesson. Whoops. Second, vibrato is not produced with your tongue. Some people think that if you wiggle it around or do some sort of fluid motion as you play, that it'll create a vibrato sound, which it might sound similar, but that's not how vibrato works. It's also not produced by your throat. Some people think that if you pulsate your throat or do any sort of contractions as you play, that it'll create a vibrato sound. That's not how it works either. Please stop doing that. You might hurt yourself. And finally, on that note, some people believe that if you manipulate your airflow by going soft and short, just kind of alternating between those and creating a pulsing pattern, that's what creates vibrato, something like this. While that may sound like a good vibrato, it's actually more forced, and we're trying to achieve the natural version of that. In short, vibrato is not something that you can just force your body to produce. In fact, it's something that will occur naturally when we do three things together. Have good posture, relax the muscles in our body, and breathe deeply using our muscle called the diaphragm. One of the most important aspects of playing any musical instrument correctly is having good posture. You know how your parents or your teachers always told you to sit or stand up straight? They knew what they were talking about. The reason it's so important is because when you don't sit or stand up straight and tall, it puts unnecessary pressure on your diaphragm, which we'll talk more about in a minute, but basically it just makes it harder to breathe. So let's try out this first exercise. What I want you to do is find a flat wall or surface, much like this one, and you're going to put the upper portion of your back against the wall along with the back of your head and the heels of your feet, much like this. Don't worry about putting your shoulders back for now. This is fine, and you're going to have a natural arch in the lower part of your back that you can just take your hand and slip that under. And it shouldn't be any sort of pressure or tension or anything. You should just naturally go in between the small of your back and the wall. Once you feel comfortable with this, you can just take a few steps away from the wall, and that is what your posture is supposed to be like. Your chest is going to be out a little bit. You should still have that arch in your lower back. It might feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, but just practice it once or twice a day and just check yourself throughout the day, and it'll become much easier with time, I promise. This one's pretty straightforward, but you shouldn't have any unnecessary tension in your body, especially in your upper torso or your throat, because natural vibrato occurs when you have a strong and steady airflow, and having that tension in any part of your body can really constrict your breathing. So whatever you gotta do to relax, do that, whether that be jumping around or wiggling your limbs or just breathing deeply. This next part is especially gonna help with that. Now this will probably be the most challenging part of this lesson, but it's also the key to getting good natural vibrato, and that's learning to breathe correctly using your diaphragm. Notice how I said correctly, because most people actually breathe incorrectly. Here's a quick test to see how you're breathing. Go ahead and stand in front of a mirror and take a big deep breath, and pay attention to what your body's doing, particularly your ab region, your chest, and your shoulders. And go ahead, I'll just be here waiting. You know what, go ahead and pause the video. Now what you may have noticed when you took your deep breath is that your shoulders and your chest area tended to rise, and this is actually considered shallow breathing because your lungs aren't meant to expand in those directions. So you're not only not getting enough air, or as much air as you possibly could, but when you exhale from this position, your upper torso collapses and you lose your good posture. The correct and natural way to breathe is by using our diaphragmatic muscle. It's kind of like a dome-shaped muscle just underneath our lungs at the bottom of our rib cage. And what happens is that when you take a deep breath with this muscle, it contracts and pulls everything underneath it down. Naturally, it's not anything bad, but it gives more room for your lungs to expand in the direction that they want to go, which is down and out. And here's how it looks on the outside. So rather than me breathing from my upper torso area with my shoulders and chest like this, what you want to happen is breathing from down here like this. Yes, your belly's going to stick out a little bit, but that's okay. Now, learning how to breathe from your diaphragm can be very challenging at first, but I have some exercises for you guys that's going to help you really progress in this area. The first one being that you take a big, deep breath, and you simply just concentrate on breathing from down here. A lot of it is actually just mental preparation. And you can also place your hands over your diaphragm like we just did, and also concentrate on not letting your shoulders and your chest rise, because we want to create a space for our lungs to go down naturally. Remember, they don't expand this way. They expand this way and this way. Okay, let's take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. And slowly exhale. Good, okay. One more time. Take a big deep breath. Don't let any of this rise. Make sure you have good posture too. Here we go. Big breath. Good, and exhale. Awesome. I'll let you try the second exercise by yourself, but all you have to do is lie down flat on the floor and make sure you're comfortable. So you might want to get a pillow or just something to kind of support your neck as you're lying there. And you're going to also use a medium to slightly heavy book. And you're going to place it on your belly, the same area where we've been placing our hands. And I want you to concentrate on making that book rise as you take a deep breath. Please do not hurt yourself by putting something really heavy on your belly. I don't want anybody getting hurt. Check with a medical professional if you need to, but it just needs to be a slightly heavy book, just a little bit of pressure. And that's it. All you have to do is practice these 3 things every single day to develop your vibrato. And the good thing is that you can practice them anywhere, at school, in the grocery store, in your bathroom, everywhere. But David, when am I going to hear vibrato in my playing? Yeah, how long is this all going to take? It's going to take some time, and every person is different. Some people might get diaphragmatic breathing easier than others. Some might actually already be breathing correctly and have a slight vibrato. Once you start practicing these techniques, you can check where you're at with your vibrato by just holding a specific note in the middle of the range, like G, and just take a big deep breath and sustain it for as long as you can while keeping it in pitch. And you should just start to hear a vibrato develop. The key to knowing if you're doing vibrato correctly is if it is a constant wave, not just something that kind of comes in and out. So if you're doing an incorrect vibrato, it's going to sound a little more jagged than if it were natural. Another note is that vibrato usually occurs on long or sustained notes. So just to give you an example of what it sounds like in music, I'm going to play you one of my favorite songs. Alright, that's going to do it for today's lesson. Thank you all so much for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, or you can reach out to me on my social networks. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I have a Snapchat now. All those things are at DocJazz4. And if you'd like to help support these videos and get some additional learning materials for every one of these lessons, those are available exclusively through my Patreon page, which you can get to through the link in the description or by clicking the little I up here in the corner. To make sure you don't miss any upcoming lessons, be sure to subscribe and check back every Monday for new episodes of OcTalk. I'll see you guys then.